Splendor of Timberland and Nelly Furtado right there on Say It Right here on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Good morning, welcome back. It still is the Morning Crossfire on 92.3 Nigeria Info. If you're a student or work in the private or public sector, then you should be listening from home, because today, tomorrow, and we've just heard that Thursday has been added, officially declared public holidays. But if you provide an essential service like health workers, security agents, and broadcasters like my humble self, thank you very much, then you know there's no freedom for you. And I'd like to say thank you for your service. Welcome, I'm Sam Oracle Chinedu. Now, our conversation for this hour has a lot to do with something I'm guessing you already know. If you live in Port Harcourt or any part of Nigeria, you're politically conscious, then you have heard about the unstable political real estate. If you're a fan of cinematography, then you can tell the difference between a movie and a series. Because a series has so many layers, so many episodes, and the viewers do not know when the season finale will come. That's exactly what's happening in River State, because this political drama is a series. And another episode has been added to it. The latest episode is presidential. President Bola Tinubu's special advisor on media and publicity, Ajuru Ngelale, says the president will not take sides in the ongoing political crisis in River State. Mr. Ngelale said this in a television interview.
That if they are banking on Mr. President taking sides in this matter, they are mistaken and they will be disappointed. The president will not do that. What he will do is ensure that everybody has what they need in order to work. And he's also going to ensure that any attempt to defund or frustrate the operation of the River State government from conducting its affairs in a way that will benefit the River people, that's obviously not going to be allowed by this president or anybody else.
All right, you heard the man speaking for the president. Mr. Ngelale called all stakeholders in the political crisis to sheath their swords for the interests of Rivers people. I think that this expression should be updated. Some people coming out with daggers, firearms. Swords are not the only weapons of choice. But let's hear him once again.
The governor equally has a responsibility to ensure that he is liaising effectively with the State House of Assembly and not playing politics with them. Not saying that he is, but he certainly can't afford to. And it's going to be important for all stakeholders, including the Honorable Minister of the FCT, to be willing to also sheath their swords and say, look, we have an election in 2027 where this battle can bear itself out. But we have a number of years before then. Let's be responsible. Let's ensure that the people of River State don't suffer because you have these elephants fighting each other in public. Governance comes first. Politics comes closer to the election.
So many thoughts, opinions, questions, and reactions trailed the president's statement. My first reaction was, should the president hold a neutral position on such a sensitive political issue? I'm in the business of asking questions. My guest, and you, the listener, will help with the answers. Mr. Olalekan Ige, a journalist and public affairs analyst, is my guest this morning. Good morning, Mr. Ige.
Yeah, good morning, Chinedu, and to wish you happy celebration.
Thank you.
Thank Salah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I should not be asking you for meat, but there's no harm in trying.
I wish you were in a state where we have a sizable Muslim population. At least I would have been able to take you to one or two or three or four places. I remember up in Lagos in those days. Mm-hmm. These are opportunities where you have plenty of things,
Yeah, I agree. Well, you know what they say about the available and the...
What is available?
Exactly.
If what you want is not available.
Exactly.
Make what is available.
You ask those around, whether you are Muslim or not. Let's have some meat, Mr. Ige. You understand? It can happen.
Okay, it's in the pipeline.
That means I will never get it. All right, so let's head straight to business. Should the president be neutral on such a sensitive issue?
Well, tough one, if you ask me. You can choose to be neutral. After all, the dramatists personnel that are involved in all of this are members of the People's Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. The president should be excited that the PDP is not at peace. In fact, the president will be willing.
There's that angle, yes.
To fund whatever division he can cause in PDP and make sure that they run helter-skelter till 2027. Because if you have to look at it very well, PDP is just the major challenger, to an election in Nigeria. So whatever that brings the downfall of PDP, should like the president naturally, which is one of the reasons why you can choose to remain neutral. In remaining neutral, he watches the way and manner members of the party dance their dance. And whenever he thinks that they are trying to drive towards peace, he can decide to add some fuel, into whatever peace they want to achieve and scatter whatever plans they may have. So he could choose to remain neutral because these are not his problems at the moment. He's at the federal level. These are members of the PDP, and he can choose to just remain aloof and watch what is going on.
Yeah, but you've heard the expression, which I'm sure you believe, that the president is the president of the nation. He's not the president of the APC or
PDP. Or
yeah.
anything.
So
yeah.
I want to believe that the interest of Rivers people, who are also Nigerians, should be top priority for the president.
True.
So neutrality might not be the best position.
Last time he offered intervention into the affairs in Rivers State, I'm sure you heard a lot of hues and cries as to why he did this, he didn't do that, he should have remained the father of the nation. He handed down an 8-point agenda or 8-point demand or 8-point directive or 8-point resolution and all of that. You understand? And I'm sure you heard the flags the president got, especially from those who are members of PDP and probably who are neutrals too, and say, look, the president didn't need to go this far, to order, these 8 directives, to both sides, the governor and of course members of the assembly or the pro same group and the pro Yeson Wike group. So you understand why he may be a little bit circumspect, this time around, and watch what develops. You heard of the 8-point directives. You heard what each party was to do to ensure that those things were, duly implemented. And I think so far, some have been implemented, and I think some are yet to be implemented. So for now, you might just look at the scenario in Rivers State and say, well, there's nothing urgent for me to quickly intervene in.
Well, after the break, we'll go through the 8 resolutions proposed by the president in the very famous Peace Pact, where the governor was summoned to Abuja. But there has been a step 1, which, of course, is a Peace Pact. And I remember you and I were talking earlier. I likened it to a father trying to resolve his 2 sons fighting. And it will not be rational for that father to be neutral, especially if the damage from that fight, could be very costly. So if the president has called for a peace pact, summoned everybody to Abuja, says, oh yeah, I've had enough of this. These are some directives you must abide by. And now, months later, the president now says, I am neutral. It is contradictory. Because the big question is, what is the aftermath of the peace pact?
But I'm sure you know that the president is a politician. And he says he's neutral. It could mean several things. It could mean, I've been able to achieve some kind of a balance, between, the 2 sides. I had a 8-point agenda, and from what I've heard so far, about 6, had been implemented. The president will look at it from that point of view and say, look, at least we have more than, why won't I just remain neutral? This time is whether Rivers State will queue behind the support, for 2027 if he chooses to run for the presidency once again. So as it is as of today, the auditor out of Rivers State at the moment.
We have a break coming up in 2 minutes. Does it reduce to the next election? Do not